Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time, Monday night edition. Sorry for the late start, almost 9 o'clock Central Time here in Nashville. But when there's football on, we typically try and give you guys the opportunity to watch the football games. And also, I don't like to counter program against NFL football games for the same reason that nobody else likes to counter program against NFL football games, is you guys like to watch football. And I know it's tough to get your attention when there's football on. But we, given that how slow the going is between the Browns and the Steelers and some of the issues that this game is experiencing, it looked like it was going to take us basically until 9 o'clock to get to the 2-minute warning. So we figured we pop on now and see if we can't get this thing going. So we're going to talk about the Titans running back situation, a little smash and dash. It is worth noting, though, as we talk running backs tonight, that the Cleveland Browns, the Titans' next opponent, Nick Chubb, experiencing just a horrendous knee injury situation that has ruled him out officially for the game. That will be 3 straight opponents that the Titans will play without their top running back. Alvin Kamara missing the Saints game. You have Austin Eckler out for the Chargers, and now Nick Chubb will almost certainly be, if not done for the season, out for Sunday's contest in Cleveland. So, of course, thoughts for Nick Chubb and for his family as he looks to deal or experiences a really, really significant injury on the same knee that he tore all of the ligaments in against Tennessee while he was still in college against Georgia. AC720 says, did we just see Nick Chubb's career end? I don't think there's discussion worthwhile for that, but it just speaks to the issue that these running backs are up against. Saquon Barkley left the game yesterday. Nick Chubb got carted off the leg. It appeared, and we don't have confirmation of this, but it appeared to be more a broken bone situation than it did ligaments, although we will wait for the official ruling and reporting on that. So we'll talk about the Titans running back situation. In the meantime, we'll discuss the most surprising 0-2 starts as Pittsburgh looks to avoid an 0-2 start to their season as we arrive at the 2-minute warning with the Steelers up 16-11. And we'll welcome in Bert, who is currently shirtless, but I'm sure will unfortunately robe himself as opposed to disrobe himself by the time we get to In Case You Missed It at the end of the show. Before we get started, need you guys to share the show around. Dislocated knee is the reporting. According to Robert, it would appear that the NFL insiders are out there with dislocated knee as well. So deeply, deeply unfortunate situation. Not a season ender necessarily, but going to miss at least the Titans game in the immediate. I think that when we Matt Stanley says, was that a Watson joke? No, the robe disrobe joke was not a Watson joke, but I'm certain at some point I'll make some Watson jokes. Tonight doesn't necessarily feel like the time to do so, given that Browns fans are already going through it with Nick Chubb. I don't know if he's the best running back in football. I don't necessarily want to get into that debate between Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, or whomever you might consider in that conversation. I just don't think that's not a productive exercise right now. But he is, if he's not the best running back football, he's top 2, right? And I think that to lose a player like that at that position is really, really tough to experience. So, of course, like I said, we hope that he recovers as soon as humanly possible. Primetime show is made possible. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studio. Primetime show is presented by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN for unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering. The Zen Sports app is where you go. The law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. Amanda J. and her crew have you covered. The best in the business is at AmandaJGentry.com. And, of course, True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Nobody puts you in better position to improve your physical fitness, to improve you, than TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free when you visit their website. So with the Titans running back situation, Mr. Jones says Buck is currently pantless while Bert is shirtless. That's correct. I'm Donald Duck at this point, and Bert is the reverse Donald Duck. But yeah, why would I put pants on to do the primetime show when this is literally in my home and all I have to do is walk down the hallway to do it? No, we don't wear pants when we do the primetime show. This is something that you've known for 4 years. But I think that as you look at the Titans running back situation and as you look at how the running backs have been deployed, it does feel like there's a bit of a smash and dash 2.0 to this. So smash and dash for the Tennessee Titans was Lendale White and Chris Johnson, or Chris Johnson and Lendale White. Smash for sure Lendale, dash for sure Chris Johnson. And I think that when you talk about the deployment of Henry and Spears, the potential for that is still there. You know, Derrick Henry outsnapped Tajay Spears in this game against the Chargers after Tajay got a higher percentage of snaps, not carries, but snaps against the New Orleans Saints. 54% for Spears in the Saints game to Derrick Henry's 48. Derrick Henry, I will pull up my handy-dandy stat sheet here, but Derrick Henry did have more carries and a higher percentage of snaps in the game because the game played to their strengths, right? We knew that the Tennessee Titans, with a lead, were going to be able to put in their closer, going to be able to run the clock out with Derrick Henry, as is the custom. Henry himself is smash and dash. Listen, this is going to be one of the more annoying things, and Mr. Jones' commentary is typically annoying and deeply biased and, unhinged and, not grounded in reality whatsoever. So perhaps I shouldn't gravitate towards that comment alone. The point of this conversation is to talk to you about, oh God, the texts are going to start. I need to figure out how to get this muted on my laptop. We need to call IT. But I think that when you talk about Henry and the usage of Derrick Henry does not need to be to the max every time. And the sooner that I get some of you, or at least Mr. Jones and whomever else would continue to traffic in that thought process, the sooner that I get you guys to remove yourself from the idea that Derrick Henry has to do it all himself all the time because he's Derrick Henry and he's the greatest, then we can actually have a productive conversation about how to best improve Derrick Henry with Tajay Spears as a result. So you're going to hear from Mike Vrabel about this in just a second. You'll hear from Derrick Henry on this here in just a second. Right after I remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is made possible by the great folks at Two Rivers Ford. Question, of course, that comes with your Two Rivers Ford take this evening is, what would you make of the running back usage for the Titans through these first two games? We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet presents your Two Rivers Ford take each and every night. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service. Two Rivers Ford has been in business for 40 years, operating with honesty and integrity. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. But, excuse me, as we look at the Major Key says, are you laying down? What you got on? Oops, wrong chat. That's funny. Were you in your OnlyFans account? What happened there? I'm dying to know. Where it just says shit, wrong chat. I unless it was a joke that I missed. That's hilarious. Either way, so / Henry, / Spears, however you want to call them, right? The Titans appear to have a deployment situation that is going to benefit their rushing attack and benefit Derrick Henry as a result. As you look at the usage for Derrick Henry in this particular game, now obviously he had 25 carries, 80 yards, 3.2 yards on average. Not efficient, but it's a classic Derrick Henry performance. He also had the touchdown. Of course, it was the 1,000th Tennessee Titans touchdown in 25 years of Titans football. And of course, coming out of the Saints game, the biggest complaint about the offense after Ryan Tannehill was the usage of Derrick Henry, particularly in the second half. When you lose a game by one and Derrick only has 5 carries in the second half, it's going to be an easy thing for fans to hit you over the head with, which is, you have the best running back in football. Why aren't you giving him the ball more, especially when he's averaging 5.1 yards per carry in the first half? So Derrick Henry in this game, it plays to his advantage. Looks like Deshaun Watson slow to get up, limping off the field right now, as it looks like they're going to let time run out in the first half of this game. It looks like TJ Watt got to Watson and he it looked like an ankle situation. Anyway, we'll keep you updated as things continue to spiral for the Browns in the first half of this Monday Night Football game. Major Key says, Buck, I have a Samsung. I can text and watch the show at the same time. My bad, bro. Ooh, That's interesting. You can also know what I'm wearing because I'm perhaps the person that you're texting also is not wearing pants. But if you wanted to know, I'm also not wearing pants. We can get a little frisky in the F&M. Oh, well, this isn't the F&M Bank chat. That's a different chat entirely. I've got all of the things mixed up. You guys have me flustered. Anyway, usage for the football team, usage for the running backs right now. I think that when you look at the deployment of these players, I think that this is going to be the best advantage. The best way to prolong Derrick Henry's career is to not have to grind him down. And if you're going to grind him down or grind teams down with him, then to only do it in the second half as opposed to a full 60 minutes of football is obviously going to work to the Titans' benefit. I think Ben Hall says Chubb's injury was apparently so bad they weren't going to show it. I'm glad they didn't. I hate when they do that. It's disgusting. And I hope that Nick Chubb recovers as fast as humanly possible. But Derrick Henry was asked about the usage of the two players in the postgame, and he was short and succinct, but his point came across well. You'll also hear from Spears in just a moment.
Yeah, we hope so. It'll be a 1-2 punch, be a great tandem, and being able to make plays and move the ball down the field whenever you have the ball in their hands. So he did a good job really well.
So Derek, not necessarily easy to hear there, but he's saying basically, yeah, we hope so. We hope that that's going to be a problem for teams across the league. We like the way that it works. Anytime they bring up playmakers in the offense, it's not just Hopkins, it's not just Henry, it's not just Chig, for example. Spears is who the coaching staff mentions as the offensive play, as one of the best offensive playmakers on the team. This is a situation for the Tennessee Titans where they have a player who can contribute right away. This is not Deion Lewis, this is not Darrington Evans, and he doesn't have to lose snaps to Derrick Henry. He is there to provide a valuable resource to Derrick Henry, which is something that he doesn't get very often. Rest. Rest is something that he hasn't needed, that he's been sustainable with such a high usage rate is crazy. But Derrick Henry doesn't need 325 plus touches a year to be able to be the kind of player that we know Derrick Henry to be. Ben Hall says of the running back deployment, I really don't understand how you can complain in past years about using Derrick too much and now complain about getting Spears touches. Like, of course, he'd take touches off of Derrick. Well, that's the thing, Ben, right? They've been looking for somebody to take touches off of Derrick for years, and they haven't been able to successfully do it. So if you want Derrick Henry to be a Titan until the end of his career and to sustain and to get a contract beyond this year, which I think is entirely feasible because of Spears' existence, Derrick Henry has to have some help. We've talked about this, and it doesn't mean that Derrick Henry is lesser, that the coaching staff isn't using him right. It just means that they're falling in line more with the rest of the NFL, which is there's no bell cow. Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry are really the only ones doing it out here with that kind of volume. And so that they found somebody who can be a complementary piece only is going to make life easier on Derrick Henry. There will be time when you are critical of the Derrick Henry usage, and maybe sometimes you'll be right, maybe sometimes you'll be wrong. But right now, let the offense figure it out. Thus far, through 2 games, that combination, how they've deployed them, has been successful. William Jones says, damn, I'm late. I didn't think you were going to go live tonight. Yeah, it was hard, William. We typically try to go with the 2-minute warning, and the Steelers Browns game has drug on into eternity. We've just now reached halftime in the Monday Night Football doubleheader. But I think that when you look at the running back deployment, to talk to Spears about it in the locker room post game, I think that they obviously see the value in the two of them together. And if they're not complaining about their usage the way that, for example, Breece Hall is, you shouldn't be either. The Primetime Show is presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands is where Amanda J. and her team go to serve you, to protect your constitutional rights. Visit AmandaJGentry.com for more details. So as we look at the running back deployment, Tyjae Spears was asked about the combination of the two of them in the locker room after the Chargers game. This is what he had to say.
Yeah, just mean fighting through adversity. The game wasn't perfect at all.
Except that's not Tyjae Spears. I couldn't see. That's Kevin Byard from Sunday night. So we don't have the Spears video. That's a mistake by me. But I think that, Tyjae echoed the sentiments of Derrick Henry, saying basically that, yes, we like the combination. We trust the coaching staff and how they're seeing fit to use us and finding ways to succeed throughout the course of the game. Jay Street says, that's KB. Yes, I know. I recognize the mistake as soon as he started talking. It's difficult for me to see it, and I forgot that I asked Bert to keep the videos from the week in there, so I thought that was a new video. Either way, smash and dash, or whatever you want to call them, Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears are the combination that you need. And I think to talk about the usage and to think it's some kind of slight on Derrick, I think is really just ignorant of what it is that they're trying to accomplish. The Primetime Show is made possible by the fine folks at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com. Get your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found at GaryAshton.com. So as we look at the offense and the different ways that the Titans are trying to get playmakers involved, I think that's been the most refreshing part of the start of the Titan season. Even in the Saints loss, felt good about the offense and how Tim Kelly was finding ways to get the guys involved. In the Chargers game, I know it was a bit of a slog for the first quarter and a half, basically, but even then they found their footing. Mike Vrabel said, we were leaking oil until the Treylon Burks completion, the 70-yard completion down the field, and it ignited that offense in ways that were meaningful and they could capitalize on. So the Titans avoid the 0-2 start. They moved to 1-1 on the season. But as we get ready to talk about teams who are starting 0-2, and Pittsburgh trying to avoid that same pitfall, up 2 at the half, 16-14 right now, let's talk about the most surprising 0-2 teams at the start of the regular season. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can submit your nominees, and we will discuss at length together right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch. Go to TrueMathFitness.com. Get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident for the best workout in Nashville. TrueMath is the place to go. Nobody has better facilities, better coaching, better options, whether that's personal training, group classes, or just their open gym facility. TrueMathFitness.com is where you sign up for your membership today. Someone said the tidal wave on 3HL is a nickname for the duo that is Spears and Henry. Jamal Loves God says that on Facebook. Great duo name. Think it was Todd, not even close and original. Plus, it's both schools, Roll Tide and Tulane Wave, tighten up, is what he says. I think that tidal wave, whatever you want to nickname, right? The only nickname that I've seen that you guys have tried to get off the ground, at least since I've been here, other than Dollywood Brown for AJ, which was funny because he had no idea what Dollywood was and had no idea what the reference was. And why would AJ Brown have any concept of what Dollywood is, coming from the place that he did in Mississippi? But the only nickname that you guys have gotten off or tried to get off the ground that the football team did not like was the Tennessee Tickle Monsters. It's always funny to ask Jeff Simmons and Nico Autry about the nickname in the locker room, and to see the face that they would make as if they smelled something bad talking about it. King Henry and Prince Spears is something that's also been nominated, but either way, I think that there are a lot of possibilities for this particular combination. Surprising 0-2 teams, though, to start the season on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is the discussion. I think that when you talk about the surprise of the 0-2 teams, maybe the Chargers aren't a surprise because the Chargers are mismanaged year in and year out. But the coach who is Brandon Staley's probably the odds-on favorite to be fired first among NFL coaches. And he should be, by the way, because they have all the talent in the world and they continue to find ways to lose games. This was Brandon Staley in the postgame after his team lost to Tennessee.
A lot of people sort of wondered whether that Jacksonville loss would carry on. I'm not worried about the Jacksonville loss. The Jacksonville loss hasn't carried on to the season whatsoever. If you've seen our training camp or you've seen the way we played in the first 2 games, it hasn't had an impact on our team whatsoever. Our team is connected. Our team has played its heart out in 2 games, and we've lost 2 tough games. But it has nothing to do with the Jacksonville game. And if you ask anyone in our locker room, it has nothing to do with the Jacksonville game. And that's just the truth. It's a convenient storyline for you and for everybody else, but it's not the truth. We've lost 2 tough games, but the guys in that locker room, the men in that locker room, they are finishers and they have what it takes, and we're excited to prove ourselves. Yeah, we just lost a game in overtime, Jeff. So how do you think the mood is? How do you think the mood is? How do you think it is? It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough group in there. There's a lot of pride in that room. okay? And we put a lot into this, and we got a good football team. And so we've lost 2 tough games. We got to bounce back, learn from our mistakes, and be ready for Minnesota. All right, guys.
So that's Brandon Staley in the Chargers postgame after losing to the Titans and fighting off the notion that his team is still shook from blowing a playoff game to the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. Mark Wasco says, sounds like they have a PK. Listen, I mean, you guys know that it's our job to ask them questions about how they win or lose. I thought the question was fine. Like the idea that they have a PK is some kind of negative connotation. I know, listen, a lot of you guys don't like Paul's attitude. I think Paul, not to get caught up, but like, I think Paul does a good job at what he does. I think sometimes he inflects his questions with too much of his own opinion or his attitude. And sometimes that comes across poorly, but to have a PK is not a bad thing. PK is a good thing. PK is a necessary thing here in media anywhere. Cause a lot of times it feels like fan bases just want their media corps to be fans of their teams also. And I think that's bullshit. And I think it's a waste of time. And I think more people should ask questions that are unbiased and not coming from a place of fandom or having to couch things because they're worried about how fans might react to it. Either way, I think Ben Hall says that's honestly a really dumb question. Now you can take issue with the question, right? The question I don't think is necessarily a great one either. It's not a question that I would ask. Hey, is your playoff loss from last year still impacting your team 2 games in? Of course, a playoff game from last season isn't why they lost a game on Sunday. So yeah, I disagree. I don't like the question at all whatsoever. But it's not something that I think is worth, acknowledging other than the Chargers being 0-2 and Brandon Staley clearly being under pressure. William Jones says PK seems like he's a prick in real life. He is, but we love him. That's okay. Paul and I are going to the English national team game against, I think it's Australia. Kaharski texted me yesterday, asking me if I wanted to get tickets together while we're all over there in London, which it's an international friendly. I wish it was an EPL game. England, Australia at Wembley Friday night before the Titans and Ravens on that Sunday. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, PK, Paul can be a D-bag and also be one of my favorite human beings of all time and a good friend. So I understand why you guys see him that way, and that's okay. But I look forward to hanging out with him. I always enjoy hanging out with PK. He's one of my favorite people to sit next to in the press box, and it's fun when we get to do stuff outside of work too, like we will in London when we're over there taking in a little bit of English national team action. Excited. I've never been to a soccer game of that scale before. Anyway, moving on. The surprising 0-2 start. The Chargers, I don't know if it's surprising, but I think that, Cincinnati dealing with Joe Burrow's calf injury. We'll see what happens with the Steelers tonight if they can avoid the 0-2 hole. The Broncos being down 0-2, I think, is a bit of a surprise. Sticking with AFC West teams, they lost again yesterday, a terrible loss to a Washington Commanders team that came back on them. Russell Wilson looks washed. But I think that when you talk about surprises, there's a couple of teams that jump to mind. LA, they continue to underwhelm. Maybe I shouldn't consider them a surprise anymore. Let's bring in Bert before we wrap things up. For in case you missed it, Primetime Show is made possible by the wonderful people at Zen Sports. You can count on Zen Sports to get you in on the action. Unlimited 5% cash back is what you get when you plug in the promo code ATOZTN in their app. 5% unlimited cash back for your first 15 days of betting. Zen Sports is where you go. Gambling problem, Tennessee Redline, 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 and up in the state of Tennessee to bet. All right, Bert, take it away.
What's going on, Buck?
Nice, shirtless, a victory for the people. Excellent.
It's because we're so much like Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. You're not wearing any pants. I'm not wearing a shirt. So we kind of fit together. And I've been thinking about this while I've been sitting over here ignoring everything you talk about. If we were a running back duo, what would our nicknames be? And I've got a couple to throw at you, and you tell me what you like, okay? Dart and Fart. Which one would you be?
Definitely not Fart.
Well, it goes to the next one, Dank and Stank.
I don't know. Who's Dank in that scenario?
You're obviously the cool guy, but they're all way too nice to you and way too mean to me. Thick and slick.
Have you seen my Twitter mentions? You are just not yet. I have a little bit of armor because I've been doing this for 7 years, and I don't actually care what any of them think of me. I love them all dearly, but I don't actually care what any of you have to say to me on a regular basis, because for as much as you've been bitching at me for 7 years, I continue to have my jobs and I continue to get more opportunities in front of a microphone, much to many of your dismays. But just the fact that you get any negative criticism at all now lately is something that you have to adjust to, because at this point, there is nothing that they could say to me that outright bothers me, other than stupid things, stupid opinions that they have about their football team from time to time. It's okay. That's why we love them.
You're calloused. Thick and
Callous is
slick.
the word.
Thick and slick is, I think, what we would go with. But I think
Mm.
Buck and Burt just has a nice little pow to it. We would average like 2 yards a carry, but it would be fun.
Ben Hall is what I meant to say, not Ben Hell. He said, I feel bad because I tweet and delete Buck to go to hell 12 times a day when the Titans and Vols play. It's hilarious to me. That's right. Just know you can send me all of those tweets all the time. I barely even read my mentions on Twitter anymore. That's how little I care about what people are saying to me on a regular basis. But I do love you either way, even though you guys get frustrated with me from time to time. I do think Burt and Buck are Buck and Burt.
Sounds like a really shitty ESPN radio show in Mississippi.
That's right. For ESPN 1000 on an AM station.
Yeah, right. Buck and Burt on ESPN 600.
As you hear it through a muffled tin can frequency from where is Starkville, Mississippi.
Yeah. I wouldn't listen to that show either. But
Petty and that's I thought it was talking about pedicure.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Not pedophiles. That's a Ron Burgundy type situation. Damn you, Matt. You got me.
Anyway, first home game of the season for the Titans, which means all the festivities came to Nissan Stadium. And my favorite part of games is people watching. I love going to tailgates. I love seeing people get inebriated. People that regularly have a desk job where they're responsible for people's 401ks or making sure your water gets turned on properly. But then these people are blackout, butt chugging beers in the parking lot. And I love that so much. And I saw this video. You put it in our Twitter chat. And this is everything that I love about tailgating for college or NFL games. There's so much to unpack. There is so much to unpack from the sweat stain that Mitch Ferguson,
the sweat stain is
legend.
Play the video. Okay, so for context, Bert is going to play. That is, of course, the great one, Mitch Firkins, who regularly appears not only on this show but always comes up to us at the League Company Countdown to Kickoff when we're out there for home games. Always take a picture with the great one, Mitch Firkins. Mitch is a character unlike any other, and he fought on behalf of his football team yesterday and lost. He lost so the Titans could win, but he did take the L in the parking lot. I want Bert to play this video again. Pay attention to the spot where Mitch Firkins lands on the asphalt, where there is not a sweat stain prior to his landing, and then all of a sudden, the ground is immediately drenched.
My favorite part of that video is Mitch turning like Stone Cold Steve Austin after the guy screaming, and Mitch goes, I love that shit.
I told Bert on the phone when we were planning the primetime show, I go, I've never felt more disconnected from the thing I spent every day of my life around for the last 7 years. Because you would not catch me dead in a setting like that ever ever. It's a good reminder though, because I don't tailgate. I'm there for work. I'm a little bit uppity anyway. So like the tailgate that I'm hanging out probably has a chandelier under the tent. It's more Grove at Ole Miss than it is, Bridge Dweller. the way that appears to be. It's made even more funny because like people who wear like the dude who is celebrating in the Chargers helmet without the face mask is just such a ridiculous thing. I saw some dude from my seat in the press box, Robert, wearing a Derrick Henry, a helmet, a Titans helmet, and a Derrick Henry jersey that he looked like he got from Walmart. He must have spent the jersey budget on the helmet itself and then picked up the Walmart jersey just to try and complete the outfit. He's sitting out there in 85-degree weather with a helmet on in the stands. Like for what? It concerns me for all of your well-being or how much you've imbibed pregame, because that cannot be a decision that was made with sound body and sound mind.
It is utopia, Buck. I love that after he celebrates victory, he's like, "Hit me with some Hennessy!" Like they're just
Hennessy,
like, okay.
chugging Hennessy. That's how I know y'all are right. Chugging. You might as well have been taking shots of maple syrup out there chugging Hennessy.
I love it. He doesn't get like a sip or a taster, not like a little flight beer. He was like J.R. Smith with that.
Joseph Mitchell says, "Play it again." Oh my God!
Play it again. Well, at least you won the game, right? I wish Mitch would have won so that could be our new end of show. I need Mitch.
Oh, no, I think it needs to be end of show anyway. Honestly, I think it needs to be the end of the show. For people who've been bitching about Jaguars lady that looks like Jeff Fisher, I think that this needs to be our new end of show video. I really do. Because that is just it is something, Bert, that is so foreign to me. I've never in my life experienced anything like that at a sporting event ever, because I don't do sporting events the way that the rest of you do sporting events. But it's like watching that is like watching Nat Geo. That's like watching one of those videos where the two water buffalo are squaring off in the wild and one of them gets gouged and ends up bleeding out and dying in a pasture somewhere. That's more, I associate that more with Nat Geo than I do with sports.
You'd never wear a banana suit to a game and show up inebriated or anything, right?
No.
See?
That's in case you missed it for the week. All right, since we're going to make that the new outro video, why don't we start tonight? Have a great rest of your evening. Radio show tomorrow. Blaine Bishop, the Hitman, is going to be on with us. We'll break down the Titans and the Chargers with him, see what he saw from the defense in particular. And we will also talk some Vols after a very, very disappointing result in the Swamp. 10 a.m. On 104.5 The Zone. Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Ready,